Guy McPherson here of the Nature Bats Last YouTube channel. Here again with Peter Miller, psychologist from Canada. We've never actually met, although the conversations we have that are not recorded, as well as the ones we have that are recorded, makes it feel like we've known each other for a long time. Maybe that's just me. In any event, we're going to talk about the holiday season because we're entering the holiday season in this country, in Canada, and the whole Jeebus worshipping community in the world. And so I think that's going to drive much of our conversation today. But before we do that, Peter, if you could mention your free course and tell us where you can find it, and maybe give a little update on the number of people that are participating at this point, and if anybody has sent a positive comment your way. That'd be nice to hear.
Okay, yeah, it's been like exciting having these conversations that I just enjoy having anyway, but being able to include a mental health offering for our listeners. We have upwards of 75 registrations now, so it's just steadily rising as we have these conversations and host these videos. So that is, I mean, that's just very meaningful for me because I mean, the course took a lot of effort, and it was it in within it is it's like biographical in a lot of ways, and it's theoretical. I mean, it's not just me talking about me, but it's me sharing how the ideas and the concepts and the skills made a difference, and basically what you can do if you are suffering with any kind of emotion regulation disorder, specifically borderline personality disorder. Um, and I've always, I guess I should say, I've always had a bit of an issue with that name because it sort of seems to suggest that a person is completely fucking crazy. But it actually isn't like that. I mean, you can have people struggling with emotion regulation disorders who are doctors, lawyers.
What that's interesting you say that, because it's borderline personality disorder. I get the feeling that it's borderline, that you're not even tipping the scales towards crazy or insanity or illness. It's just borderline. It's a borderline case. Maybe I'm interpreting that wrong.
I think in the old days before they had the diagnostic manual, I think they called it hysteria. But anyway,
What?
I think yeah.
It's a lot different than borderline personality disorder. Are you kidding
Well,
me?
I mean, if it isn't managed, I mean, you could go into kind of a hysterical kind of state, right? Where your emotions are all over the place, right?
I'm
Um,
there most of the day. Are you kidding me?
yeah, well, uh, I hope not. It's a very unpleasant place to be, Guy. Uh, I mean, and I think what a lot of it has to do with is struggling to discern like fact from fiction, real from unreal. You get caught up in all these kind of interpretations, right? And then you believe the interpretations are real, and you act as though they are, which creates chaos and drama and all kinds of unpleasantness. So, I mean, again, you could be a person living your life where it just seems like there's a fair amount of drama in your life, and you're kind of maybe going like, why does life have to be hard like this? And why can't we get along better, right? And there's a very good chance that there is someone or yourself who has some borderline traits, and you just never really learned how to work with your emotions. You never learned how to make those distinctions between fact and fiction. Not enough self-awareness, not enough thought analysis, not enough learning how to be, I'll say, in your body and learning how to work with your mind and with your emotions. So the course, I hope, will do an excellent job of being able to guide you in that way, or at least start you down the path so that you can look deeper into these things. And maybe I have many other professionals in there who have they supplement what I say. And if you like the way they do it better, like go with them, you know. Yeah. So
And
from start
again,
to finish though, okay?
that's freebptcourse.com.
Yes, I should say the actual address. If you want to access it, go to freebpdcourse.com. And it's going to be there indefinitely, at least till the day I die. So please take advantage of it if you think it would help you. And I mean, if you want to be strong, if you want to have more strength as a human, I mean, all you have to do is start looking into these things, and it just kind of baffles me. Why would they not want to be stronger? Um, and sometimes people stigmatize, mental health services as kind of, that's the place where you go if you're hopeless, right? But no, I think it's like a library, it's like a school, it's like maybe like a yoga studio. You go there if you want to like learn some of the secrets about life and how to function in a better way in a very crazy place.
And this definitely is a very crazy place.
Yeah. Yeah. So there it is. That's the course.
And I want you to mention your band as well.
Oh,
So you
thanks.
put out
Okay.
another
Well,
song or two.
I have my shameless promotion shirt
There you
on
go.
here. You can check us out on YouTube or the streaming services. We have two released songs, and we have at least four more coming up early 2024, hopefully in the first 2 to 3 months.
Hmm.
We have a Facebook page too. I just recently posted a little teaser video on there, sort of showing some of the song sketches. They aren't like finished, of course. They're a little bit rough, but I just wanted to show, like we're working on stuff,
Right.
and it's going to be cool. Yeah.
That's great. And as I indicated earlier, as we enter the holiday season, I wanted to talk about the holidays.
Mhm.
Specifically, it's a time of year known for spending time with family and friends, as difficult as that may be, and also eating a lot, which is my favorite part, of course. And one of the things that comes up when people start traveling, at least people in my circle, is that you can't do that. You just can't go traveling. You're putting fossil fuels to bad work. You're warming the planet every time you get in your car and go to the grocery store, much less drive 50 miles to see some family members.
Mhm.
And that's ridiculous. So, so the masses, that's you and me and a lot of other people, are asked frequently to conserve fossil fuels. But at the same time, the billionaires are not doing anything. The people who could actually make a difference in the world are not. They're apparently charged with preserving aerosol masking. I've mentioned the aerosol masking effect here and a few other times. Nobody's asking you and me to make sure that aerosol masking is preserved. No, that's for the
Mhm.
billionaires.
Mhm.
So that seems a little unfair, but there's nothing that you or the masses or I can do about it. And a lot of what goes on in life seems unfair. So I guess what I'm trying to relay to people is that we're in this damned if you do, damned if you don't situation with respect to aerosol masking. And so let's not fret about it. Let's not worry about the things that we used to take for granted, which is driving 50 or 100 miles or going next door to see friends and family on this time of year when most people get a little bit of time off, and so they can afford to take the time from their wage slave job to actually interact positively with friends and family. So let's just do
Mhm.
that instead of always putting it on our shoulders, the shoulders of the masses, to conserve fossil fuels and
Mhm.
let the billionaires do whatever they want.
Mhm.
Your thoughts,
Yeah.
please?
Well, we are in this paradigm, the majority of us, that is a capitalist industrial paradigm. The people who have the majority of power are going to continue doing whatever they want. I mean, that is we're such a small minority. I mean, the people who actually think in these ways that we talk about in these video, like we're so small. Like I guess in terms of like numbers, right? Like I think the majority of people just blindly go along with what the system tells them to do. And they just have complete faith in it. Like, almost like those guys in that movie, The Big Short, who were just so they were just so baffled that it could be so corrupt when they finally learned that it was in their best interest to bet against it. They were just like, it can't be like, but and that guy, one of the other characters was like, it is that bad, and it is a fraud, it is a scam, it is a pyramid scheme, and they're just it can't be, right? And it, like,
Because that runs contrary to everything I ever heard growing up, and probably you too, right?
oh
We
no,
never heard that the system was rigged for billionaires. I never
well,
heard that.
I mean, I had a gut sense when I was young that things were twisted, or things were harmful, things were being done from and powerful people have the ability to do that. Uh, uh, and I guess it was hard not to overgeneralize and say all rich people are bad. Like I probably still have that tendency. I think nowadays I just say I'm suspect of anyone who has lots of money, because I think it can change the way you think and operate, and you can start to rationalize the things that you do, harmful things that you do, much more easily when you have much more money. So I'm suspect of people in those categories, and yeah, I'll probably be blocked for my whole life to have lots of money, because I just think it's such a dangerous place to be. Anyway, like yeah, we're in this paradigm, uh, and we and if you've learned the things that Guy has taught, and if you've gone into any depth with it, and listened to some of his lectures from all the various places he's been and uh, all over the country, right, in different countries and in different classrooms, and just listen to 3 or 4 or 5 of those, and you'll start to see, like, you'll get the general gist of it, which is, like you said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. One of my favorite videos of yours was that irreversible climate change in under 4 minutes. It was I thought it was one of my favorites. You were sitting on a couch, and it just was like perfect, in my view, the way you explained it. Um, so we I mean, it doesn't make a lot of difference how much fossil fuels we burn, as just regular citizens, right? Like we and what is our other option? We can burn fossil fuels and participate in this harmful paradigm, or we can try to go completely off grid and be like a woodsman who hunts and has a wood hut, right? Somewhere in some land that isn't owned, which probably isn't, that would be hard to find. So,
And I
I
did
mean,
that. I did that for more than
yeah,
a decade, right? I lived off
okay.
grid, had a house built that was a straw bale house, so it was incredibly well insulated. I grew enough food for me and several other people, with the exception of grains, because grains require an enormous amount of area to grow. So I stocked up. I had a 20-year supply of grains for the 5 people who were living there. And then I learned about the aerosol masking effect. And then I remembered a couple of things: the rate of environmental change and how important it is. And also, if we all do that, if we all just walk away, nuclear power plants start melting down, and the ionizing radiation strips away stratospheric ozone. Interestingly, this was demonstrated very subtly in the 2021 film Finch. So the writers of that film understood, right? They got it, that we can't all just walk away. Somebody has to take care of the mess we've created. And that mess includes nuclear power plants and a lot of other hazardous materials that are just out there waiting to poison people who are not aware, waiting to
Hmm.
destroy all life on Earth. So
Hmm.
when I figured this out, finally, way too late, I returned to a more conventional life. All I'm missing at this point is the money that goes with having that more conventional life.
Right, right. So yeah, you're more like the rest of us, where you have to be, I think where most of us are in this very conflicted state of mind. Like, if you are someone who cares about the environment, um, and and you care about other people, and you want, the best for everybody, like, that your everyday actions are contributing to the worst problem there is, right? Which is the total destruction of everything. And
Right, right.
so.
Other than that, there's no problem.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard place to be emotionally, actually, because you could feel like you could feel some guilt, and but then I mean, if you don't fully think it through, like because you said it has gone past the point of no return, basically. Like
Right.
if we don't all continue maintaining the aerosol masking effect, then we will all die faster.
Yes.
Um, and
Even
so
even the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change which is a political organization that draws from scientific information, but it's without question a political organization. It requires the sign off of governments around the world before they release anything. And the IPCC even included the information that abrupt geophysical events do not approach current rates of human-driven change. We're driving a faster change in the environment than when a meteor struck the Yucatan Peninsula and drove the dinosaurs to extinction.
yeah. And it's
We're going
it's the rapid pulse emissions. It's not, it's because
right.
it isn't like one big volcano in 2,000 years. We just keep every day. It's like we just
Right,
we keep emitting.
right. And if you and me and the couple thousand people who watch this video stop, you think that's going to matter? There's more than 8 billion people on this planet, folks.
Right. Yeah. And they're getting indoctrinated into capitalism every day.
Absolutely.
It's the best way to live.
It's the only way to live. Are
As
you
of,
kidding?
yeah, the only way and the only really the only option now at this point, because of the aerosol masking effect,
Right,
right? And
right. And let me talk a little bit about the aerosol masking effect again. Based on a peer-reviewed open access paper in Nature Communications published on June 15th, 2021, loss of aerosol masking will lead to a 55% increase in global temperature, again in a very short period of time. The increase in temperature over land, where most of us live, will be 133%. So
mhm.
let's assume we're only at 2 degrees C above the 1750 baseline, although that's a very conservative figure, as pointed out several times by me in my videos. That's going to increase the global average temperature on land to about 4.7 degrees C if we lose aerosol masking. Well, it's 5 to 6 C temperature increase that drives to extinction all life on Earth, but only if we get to that 5 or 6 very over the next few centuries. So what do you think is going to happen when we get to 4.7 degrees in a week or a month?
Mhm.
That's a rate of environmental change that is unprecedented in the history of this planet.
Mhm.
It what we're doing now far exceeds what happened when a meteor struck the planet about 66 million years ago. And this is going to accelerate that much, much more, profoundly so.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so if there's basically very little you and I can do, then let's not fret about it. Let's not spend all of our time worrying about our own individual actions and how important or unimportant they are, because we know better than to think that they're incredibly important.
Right. And and probably one of the mental maneuvers you need to do is kind of stop going into the if we all just did something, it would all work out. Like I think that a lot of people that I've seen still go there. You know, all we have to do is figure this out and all work together and probably find the right technology, then everything is going to work out for everybody. Like
Right.
that's well, I guess it's the
Well,
Hopian place, right? But
right. Well, and that's where I was 8, 10 years ago when I decided to start living off grid. And I was a pretty well-known professor at the time. Fewer than 1 in 200 people who get a PhD in the natural sciences go on to become a full professor. And I did that before I turned 40. And that's basically unprecedented. So I was feeling pretty good about myself. And I just knew that if I took this profound step, the rest of society would go, oh yeah, Guy McPherson's doing that. We better do that.
mm,
Well, it's a good thing they didn't, because we would have lost aerosol masking and we would have walked away from those nuclear power plants. That would be very inconvenient.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have the knowledge I needed at the time. Now I do. Too little, too late. And this goes directly again to your course and recognizing what we can do, what we cannot do, and what our emotional and mental reactions should be to information.
Yeah. I I think that is an important consideration. Uh, you do need the right information and um, the right perspective for all different situations of life in order to manage them most effectively. And I think that's kind of what we're doing with our talks is kind of trying to say, these are some of the realities. And I know that the far right wing, whatever anti-environmental people would say that our facts are lies. Um, which is, I mean, often what that's the mind games that they play to kind of like keep kicking the can down the road kind of thing, right? So you just keep kind of gaslighting and you just keep doing logical fallacies and just keep, doubting the what people who have spent their lives learning are sharing. So you spent your whole life like learning about ecology and environment and everything else you've learned and giving this information away freely, and then they say you're a liar kind of thing, right? Or that you're off in some degree, right? And
Right.
I mean, and you've admitted that you have learned and changed your perspective over time as the information has come to you, right? But I think you've all along you've been trying to be as honest as you can be.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you're not going, how can I manipulate this situation and use logical fallacy and spin things and how can I just do this to manipulate people? You're just trying to say, this is what I have observed and what the other researchers are telling us over and over again through the peer-reviewed literature,
This
right?
is not
And
a money-making scheme on my
yeah,
behalf.
right. So, uh, and then then the people who have billions of dollars and they just want more. It seems like people trust them more, like which is just bizarre to me because their end game is more money. It's not like truth.
Right. And I think I know why that is. We worship money, and therefore the people who have a lot of money, we worship them. There's
Right.
there's success stories in this version of capitalism, right? They're the ones who won.
Yeah, the winners, I guess. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
so why would I believe anybody else? Why would I believe poor people? Why would I believe me when I can believe Charlie Munger, who died at only like 1,000 years of age recently? That's Jimmy Buffett's right hand person for
Yeah,
forever.
no, like I think the early indoctrination in the system is that money and more money equals happiness. And even though the celebrities who have made lots of money, they have admitted that it's a lie. Like, Jim Carrey admitted it's a lie. Matthew Perry, it's a lie. Like, and there's others, I'm sure that they have said I made it to the pinnacle and it's a big
Right,
fucking lie. But but people are so hypnotized by this paradigm that they just keep going in that direction. They can't help it. Like
right.
maybe there's that no free will thing coming into play there, right? Like,
Well, maybe. And I think that most of us spend the majority of our lives wanting more, not recognizing that enough is enough. That according to mm, Mary Poppins, a movie I've never seen, enough's as good as a feast.
Mhm.
So that's a line from that film that makes perfect sense to me. Enough is as good as a feast, right? But almost nobody lives that way. And I have to admit, I've spent a considerable part of my life not living that way, trying to get more, more, because more is better, right?
Well, I think it reminds me of one of my recent interactions with a fellow, and we ended up concluding that he has achievement addiction, and Because when people achieve things, they can get like a burst of kind of like natural pleasure chemicals, I think. If they get recognized or if they get a big reward, right? You can get this like burst of like uh, positive energy or whatever, positive feeling.
Hmm.
And then it lasts for a little while, right? And then it goes
Yeah.
down, and then it's gone. And then you need another one, and then
It,
another one, and then another
right.
one, right?
It's dopamine, right? Dopamine is the thing that gives you the
Yeah, yeah, that's one
positive.
of them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, you get a hit of dopamine, and then it gives you some good feeling for a period of time, and then of course you want to keep that going. So then you need another hit of
So, so why can't I get dopamine at the local drugstore?
Oh wow, I'm sure some foods can do it, but probably not in a high level. Right. Um, but so it's probably important to acknowledge like how many of us are kind of in an addiction kind of um internal way of being, like we get addicted to different things, and it becomes our way of coping and getting by instead of learning how to be honest with ourselves and learning how to love ourselves and have compassion for ourselves. We rely on these other things as sort of like a crutch, right? Uh, and it's like the bizarre thing about the system that we're in is it seems like it encourages and it is relentless in its pursuit to get us addicted to all different kinds of things, right? Like yeah, be a workaholic. Yeah, like get addicted to money. Yeah, like like enjoy this drink and then put it in your day every day, right? Or whatever. Uh Go
Right.
gambling and
And
get your
it's
kicks
easy.
there. Like,
It's easy to get convinced to go that direction too, because we are
hey.
such a hyper-driven culture that everybody wants more, more, and more. And so I was a workaholic. When I was on campus, I was routinely working more than 16 hours a day. I'm pretty sure that's not the best thing you can do for your mental health.
I still fall into achievement addiction patterns sometimes too. Like if I release a song and people like it, the dopamine goes start it hits,
Right.
right? Like and then it's like, oh, I need to write another one, like kind of thing, like whatever. But I mean, I have the awareness to go like, Peter, that's just fake, like that's not real. That's not real happiness kind of thing, right? It's just a temporary
So,
high.
so have you had a recorded conversation with Mick Jagger about that yet?
Yeah, right. That guy's that guy is never gonna stop. No. Uh, and I'm a bit conflicted about this too because I think artists make the world a beautiful place. So
Of course.
I don't know,
Absolutely.
and so I give the artists I give them sort of the benefit of the doubt, or I don't judge them as badly because you're doing a beautiful thing, like
Right.
so you can be a billionaire. I don't mind.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Kurt Vonnegut said something in one of the last commencement addresses he delivered, and it was something like, obviously, I'm going to paraphrase. Uh, join the military. You'll see the world. It'll be a wonderful life. I'm just kidding. And then he does another one like that appeals to most of our emotions. And then he says, I'm kidding. And he says, go into the arts. You'll actually create something. And that's what's important. And I'm not
Mhm,
kidding.
mhm, mhm,
And that's how he spent his life. He spent his life writing for other people to appreciate his work.
mhm.
And it wasn't, at least in the beginning, it wasn't a big money making operation for him.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Like, I think the arts is where it's at, even though I remember and here's a small funny story when I was in my undergraduate uh, education. They had a poster on the wall basically saying, if you want to go somewhere, get a Bachelor of Science. If you want to end up going nowhere, get a Bachelor of Arts. And like I'm like, yeah, I'm going for Bachelor of Arts. Yes.
where you can learn to say, "Do you want fries with that?" in multiple languages.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, and yeah, I think hard science is sort of more aligned with money making probably. Unless you're brilliant, unless you can do some brilliant art, then yeah, then you can earn a lot in that way. But
For the last decade I was on campus, I finally figured out that it's not all about science. It's not all about technology. And so for something like a third of their grade, I forget the details at this point, but for about a third of the grade of each student, I would have them prepare a significant piece of art or literature. And these were all science courses. And the students all hated me. For the whole semester, they hated me. They went to my department head. They said, he's making us do these stupid things. And I'm in this, it's a science course. And also because it's required, I wouldn't be here at all. And then we had the last class meeting of the semester, I would have them share whatever they created. And then almost every student came up to me afterwards and said, every class should require us to do this. This is the best thing I've ever done. And I'm
why
like,
is that? What was
wait a minute.
the reason there? What was
Because this is about living a whole life.
Hmm.
This is not about learning a small segment of what goes on in the universe and then using that very limited knowledge to make a career for yourself. That's what most universities claim is the most important thing, is getting you a good job. But really, what's the most important thing is having you learn how to live a full and complete life.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
not how to become the next millionaire or billionaire in the world. We got plenty of those.
And I'll just interject just for mental health. If you don't learn about mental health and you don't get some skills, how can you possibly have a whole and complete life? Right? I think you're more prone to be addicted to things, more prone to be engaged in unnecessary chaos and drama and fighting with the people in your life if you don't have some of these understandings and skills. So if you want a whole life where you experience the wholeness of it and the whole enjoyment of it, then gosh, I think you kind of need to learn that stuff. Freebpdcourse.com. It's
Right.
I wish over and over and over again in my life that I had just the smallest inkling of knowing about mental health when I was a kid. And then I'm like, why, and I end
Right.
up being furious with the people who raised me. It's like, and like, why did you not know anything? And like,
Right. Right.
you know,
Well,
and like, why is math more important than mental health? Like, it frustrates me.
right. Right. You know who Howard Gardner is by chance?
I heard the name. You have to remind me.
He came up, I think he was at Harvard, and he came up with the notion of different kinds of intelligence. And he started with 7 or 8, and he ended up with 10 different kinds of intelligence. And he pointed out that we only focus in the school system in the United States, at least, on 2 of them: mathematical, logical, and linguistics. That's
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Nothing else. The
Yep.
others include things like interpersonal communication skills, the ability to do this, what
Yeah.
we're doing today, the ability to interact with people. The people who are really good at intercommunication skills make great car salesmen,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because they can connect with people. And then there's the one that we don't even talk about in the public schools in the United States and probably most of the rest of the world: intrapersonal communication. Why am I here? Is there a reason for my existence?
Hmm.
What am I doing here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? So
Yeah.
that's intrapersonal. And then there's um, physio mechanical, the kind of thing that Michael Jordan was really good at, and that a bunch of other people still are. I just don't follow professional sports anymore. So these people are amazing and can become millionaires and billionaires because they know how to move their bodies in certain ways.
Hmm.
And so there's a whole bunch more to life. The point is of Howard Gardner's work, the point is that there's a whole lot more to life and to living than just mathematics and speaking English.
I agree. Absolutely. And I mean, I have another piece to add to why potentially is education about emotions and relationships and everything else, mental health, sort of omitted from our system. And I mean, one of the things I started discovering more and more when I started learning about my own stuff was how it helped me put the pieces together and connect the dots about how corrupt the world is. Um, so I mean, if we learned early on in life about how to take care of ourselves and how to um, how to be sane, if we learned how to do that, then we might end up boycotting a lot of the financial motivated parts of the system, right? Like we'd say I don't need that, right?
Right.
Like, we'd say
Absolutely.
I don't need that to be okay because I know how to take care of myself.
Right.
So I don't need to go to the store so much. I don't need church because I learned how to take care of myself. I don't need to depend on others that much.
Right.
So think about it for a second. If people learned about mental health and on a large scale, what would that do to the financial systems? What would it do to it?
Right. Yeah.
It would it would
It
it would
wouldn't be
undermine it.
good.
It would
Bill-
undermine it in a big way.
Absolutely. Some billionaire would lose millions of dollars. It might even threaten their multi-billionaire status. Wouldn't
Yeah,
that be horrible?
people would be like, I don't need to have a high status. I don't need to project a false image.
Right.
Um, and I don't need about 90% of what you're offering.
This is the way of the Buddha, right?
Pretty
Having
much.
everything, Siddhartha, and recognizing that having everything is not all it's cracked up to be. And so he decided to forsake that kind of life and went for simplicity.
And it's actually a big weight off, actually. And you're not an addicted being and an overly dependent being.
Mm-hmm.
But society, and I would say financial systems, capitalism, they want ad addicts, all different kinds of addicts, and they want people to not know very much. They don't want them to have very much knowledge. And I think George Carlin said this very well in one of his skits. They want you to be just smart enough to like do a very mundane job, but they don't want you to be smart enough to kind of like question the system.
Right. And in fact, the United States Congress made that decision in the late 1800s, and it's right there for everybody to see in the congressional record that that's the whole reason the public school system was created in the United States is because all these private schools were making people too intelligent and too knowledgeable. So they were starting to question the system. We can't have that. The system is fine. In fact, it's perfect. Just leave it alone.
And that is always the right wing argument. The system is benign. The system is it's a level playing field. Uh, if you want, you can achieve anything you want. Like this, these are this is the dishonest mythology that it gets perpetuated in all kinds of movies and TV shows. It's just the American dream over and over and over and over, right? It's just like pelting you like with this stuff.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and the times that I did go to church, that's the way church people talk too. They're like, all you need to do is like follow our system and be obedient and be faithful, and all, good things will come to you.
George
Um,
George Carlin had a line about that too, you know. You know why it's called the American dream? Because you have to be asleep to believe it.
asleep to believe it. Yeah, which is basically saying uh, that you have to be ignorant or unaware of many
Yes,
things. Uh,
absolutely.
uh, and
And
so, yeah.
and so he saw behind the curtain, right? And that's a dangerous place to look.
And how do you get behind the curtain? Like read more books, like read as many books as you can, right? Like talk to other people who are of a similar attitude. Like that's why I like talking with Guy. He's one of my favorite guys because he's got just the attitude and the knowledge to go with it, right? So
Well, yeah, but it starts with yourself, right? Every individual has got to somehow learn about the system in which we are all embedded. How do you do that? For most people, it's reading. For some people, it's watching videos.
yes,
Hopefully,
and
hopefully for a few people, it's watching these videos.
and really come to terms with the I think I'm going to say it again, like the addictive tendencies of this paradigm that we're in. They want you to be addicted.
Right,
They want you to not know much. They want you to be dependent. The more you learn and the more you learn how to take care of yourself, the more you don't need them.
right.
And they don't want that, right?
No, no, we can't have that.
I think that's the best we can do on our way out of this world is to kind of be to learn how to get enough knowledge and wherewithal and skills to boycott the system as much as possible. I mean, it's not going to change the outcome, but it's still kind of fun, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And even though it doesn't change the outcome at large, it changes it for us as individuals to become more dependent upon myself. This was the route of existential philosophers dating back to Henry David Thoreau, right? Be able to take care of things for myself by myself. And then I don't have to depend upon everybody else and everything else in the system.
Yeah, like, and it isn't all or nothing. We do need each other in ways. So we can't be 100% independent. I think humans are social beings, right? And we
Yes,
do we
absolutely.
we can't experience the wholeness of life without each other. But there's so much false dependency, right?
Right. And so I was ecstatic, although I didn't express it well, when we're about to start recording, just right. So a little while ago,
Yeah.
and my text message just keeps going off on my phone, off and off and off. And it's friends who are nearby who want to come down here and bring dinner. And that's a great thing. It's wonderful to have friends like that. This is the kind of thing I relish and love in my life,
Mm.
is that we have friends.
Yeah, the pleasant, enjoyable connections and including hanging out with you at these times is that's the best one of the best parts about life. Um and the I'm okay with that part of the holiday season where people have a bit of time to hang out, play some board games, share some laughs, tell some stories, and if we have some skills, listen to each other deeply. I mean, that's nice. Everything else about Christmas is 100% shit.
And speaking of those skills, where can we learn more of those skills? That's right, free
Yes,
course.
my free course is at freebpdcourse.com. And it is, yeah, sitting there waiting to be utilized. If you would, and again, some of the potential benefits are, of course, being able to take care of yourself in new and improved ways, developing a better understanding of the context you're in and how that influences your mental health from early childhood onwards, learning about how other people in your life could be afflicted in these ways and how you could be accidentally making their life much more painful. This is one of the saddest things about mental health is when you have loving, caring people who want to be helpful, but they're taking ineffective approaches and they're hurting their loved ones. You hurt them by trying to be helpful when you don't know what you're doing.
Hmm.
So if you want to be helpful and you want them to feel less pain and suffer less, take it upon yourself to learn more about mental health, whether it be my course or any other. And again, there's probably at least 6 to 12 other professionals that I have in the supplementary videos that if you like the way they talk about it better, then go their way. There's lots of excellent teachers out there.
That's great. I think that's a
Yeah.
wonderful place to wrap this up. Oh, and one more mention, if only by leaning back, one more mention of your band.
Oh, thanks. Okay. This is my emoji friend that I call Smith. Uh, and yeah, I'm trying to create my own little bit of band mythology with that. And he's my very rebellious uh friend that comes to me when I'm trying to write new music. And he joins me in my mind and we we make music together. And and he can come in all different styles and varieties, all different kinds of colors, and stuff that you can see on our Facebook feed if you come check it out. But yeah, we're making music. We started this the last part of this year, and we're going to be continuing into the into infinity if possible.
So check out Lie Avenger, folks.
So thank you. Yeah,
When
yes,
you're done checking out freebpdcourse.com.
yes. Yes, Live Avenger. Thank you.
So let's leave it right there. I look forward to next week's conversation.
Sounds good.